I've been racing in the Xfinity Series with some pretty good power, but in the Xfinity Series, you show up with the motor you're going to race. I'd never drove a qualifying motor before, and we went to Charlotte for the May race, my very first race ever.
And you were nervous wreck.
And I think I told you this. When we put that motor in for qualifying, it was like mashing fast forward on the VCR. A lot of people don't know what a VCR this is.
Well, we do. We're old enough.
But I'm gonna tell you right now, there was a lot of things. There's so many adjustments you can make on a race car, and it's just so subtle. You got to really, and sometimes it's placebo. You don't know if you're really feeling it or not. But man, when we put in our qualifying motors, it felt like you were literally going 10 mile an hour faster at the end of the straightaway. And I used to love talking to them about it, because they're like, it's only got a dozen laps before it's going to explode. It's like, that's the way it made you feel. Like they knew how to make that motor just run as fucking good as it could. Yeah. But it was only going to do it for that amount of time that it needed to run. And it was so fascinating, man. I felt like, I was getting like some inside knowledge, right, or some special, that I'd never experienced before. And I'll be honest with you, I don't know that there was only a little window of time in my life where I know the sport changed a lot, but God almighty, man, we'd put the damn qualifying motor in, and it was like, hang on, this son of a bitch is going to be going into the corner a lot faster. And it was fun to tell them, and Richie's face would light up, but he knew that's what it was going to do.
But weren't you terrified, though, that qualifying, as it got closer? Like
I was scared. I'll be honest with you. I was never more scared in a race car than right before qualifying. And it was not so much about the cars going to go faster. It was just because that was the one moment where no one was on that racetrack but you. And every person at that place was paying attention to what you were doing. And it was like, when you're in a crowded room and everybody in that room's doing the same thing, if you up or you don't do it just quite as good as you could have, or maybe you just make a mistake, it's hardly noticed because everyone else in the room's doing what you're doing. But when you're the only one doing it and everybody else is watching you, you're like, man, I got to hit this just right.
And if you don't, everybody knows it.
If you don't, there ain't no hiding, no excuses.
Right.
Everybody saw it. Oh, yeah, I saw you screw up. So there was a lot of pressure.
Let me ask you this, because, again, I remember there being this huge marketing campaign. I think even Budweiser made special cans and all this stuff. I mean, they gave it a name, and so there was pressure. I'm wondering, did you guys in the engine shop feel that pressure as well?
I remember how much time we spent on the qualifier for Charlotte.
Just because we had to make it, right?
Yeah, we had to make it.
We didn't have a spot.
And
oh, that's right.
Dude, the thing, I'm going to tell you, that motor, I mean, if I remember this correctly, that qualifying engine for that race was so different from my race motor.
I remember when we put it in, because we went over and tested, and we were fast, really fast. And we knew what we had for a practice motor, and this thing was bad. And we go over and we put it in, we only want to run a few laps with it. And we go out there and we're like maybe 8th in practice. And Big E comes over and he looks in his window. He goes, "What's wrong?" Because we weren't quickest on the board. And
let's talk about expectations.
And he had just practiced in Xfinity, And Junior looks out, and I was right next to him, and he looks over and he goes, "Man, have you ever seen that show Cops? When they show the video cam, how fast some things are going?" He goes, "That was me going down the backstretch. give me a minute." And I was just like, hell yeah.
To this day, the way his brain works, right? It just haven't you ever seen that show Cops, Dad? That is amazing. Holy crap. Yeah. that's a good point that you guys weren't even in the race. You had to qualify in. And there's so much marketing that it reminded me. Remember that Dan versus Dave Olympic campaign that I don't know if it was McDonald's or whatever, but like they had the two athletes, like the best athletes in the world. And then one of them didn't even make the Olympics.
I remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah. They put all that pressure, build up.
Millions and millions of dollars all put into this. And one of them didn't even qualify for the Olympic team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That day, that countdown to E-Day was very nauseating. I even get nauseous thinking about it now, but it was, I mean, I wasn't even that uncomfortable as I am today, right, about things like that. But, you know, we were kind of like, man, we're living a life. This is wild, right? This is freaking awesome. But it was, once we got up on, it's like walking up to a cliff. Oh, this ain't nothing. We're good. You get up there and you look down and you're like, holy shit. We're high up. That was like race day was looking off the edge of that cliff going, holy shit.
Yeah, I guess it's nothing like having the calming, soothing, peaceful voice of Tony Erie Sr. reminding you that you ain't crap if you don't go turn a certain time.
No driving.
Son of a
Hey, if you like that video, you'll love the entire podcast, the Dale Jr. Download. It's available on all major podcast platforms.